Welcome back, everybody. This is Michael Liveris from JurisQ.com, and I'm here with Stephen Yuniver, a commercial real estate attorney, partner in Sinayskaya Yuniver. Stephen, welcome back.
Thank you, Michael, for having us back.
Thank you, and thank you to our listeners, our viewers, for your attention. We're talking about commercial real estate. We talked in our previous session about the importance of having your own attorney that has you in mind and has your back when you are buying commercial real estate. And today let's talk about title. A lot of people know that before you purchase a property, you have to have a title report prepared. You have to make sure you have to go through it with your attorney, and it gives you certain protection, certain insurance. So it's very confusing what it protects against and not. Let's talk about that. Stephen, title insurance companies, or more correctly, title insurance agencies, right? What do they check and what do they protect you from?
So that's a lot. Title is the funny thing is, if you ever Google, do I need title insurance, which is absurdly expensive in New York, it says it's optional. It is most definitely not optional in New York. I don't really know why they put it as optional. I have a lot of clients ask me about it. So what they do is basically, one, they give you insurance that that nobody else has a claim to this property. I have this one client who purchased a house in Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn in 1998 for 150,000. Now it's worth upwards of 4 million.
Right.
All of a sudden, title came back and said, so all of a sudden somebody came back and said, my father owned this property in 1993, and this is a fraudulent deed that it was signed over.
Wow.
This is something that title insurance protects you with. Now, there's some market value rider and things of that nature that we could go in on a different day, but basically this is what protects you, that there was a purpose. The title is insuring that property. You don't know kind of what you don't know. My clients had no idea, title insurance had no idea when they checked the property, the deeds, that this was fraudulent. However, the insurance there will protect you and make sure that you purchased it, and will make sure that you're whole. So if you ever purchase property, that is one thing that they search for. Another thing is, recently title companies started doing this more, but some companies I've learned recently did not search open permits or open violations. They just did clouds on title, which open permit and a violation, technically it's not a cloud on title. You still own it. The government just has a lien on it.
Yeah, but
and I realize
it's very important to know, Stephen, if you're buying a property, if a permit is not valid, expired, or like you said, it's open, which means that it was not completed.
potentially it was not completed, or the contractor just didn't sign off. There could be a million different scenarios.
Right.
And now you're going to have to be able to sell it. Somebody who does know what they're searching for looks at it and says, oh, I'm not buying this. There's an open permit. It'll cost you tens of thousands of dollars to clean it. So it's very important to work with your insurance, with the real estate attorney that works with their title company, that knows what needs to be searched. I know every time I order title, even though I've been working with this title company for years, I make sure I give them a list of things that I need to get searched. They already know it. I just make sure I have a spreadsheet. I have this formula. I make sure it gets done. That's the most important part. Another thing that's sometimes overlooked is easements on properties, especially in New York State. A lot of people think that driveways that are shared, you could put anything you want on it, even though you own half of it. Just because you own half of it doesn't mean you could control half of it. An easement is used by more than two people. And a lot of people don't know they could have an easement for light. So you can't build your property another story, or you can't put anything on top of your roof. You need to make sure you search for easements. A lot of times title companies forget to search for easements. And an easement could prevent you from doing anything on your property. Building a garage, putting an antenna on your roof, even fixing your roof, you might have to get permission from another neighbor. These are specific rules in communities. The other day...
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt. So those easements, even though title insurance company will provide you a record of them or a copy, it's still your job as an attorney to read through them and explain to the client what it actually means, right?
Yes. So it's interesting. The other day I did a title for a large property in Brighton Beach. And we did a title search, and I always ask my people don't ask for it, but historical data. And we pulled historical data, and there was called a restrictive covenant, where the community of Brighton Beach in Brooklyn said that this property is not allowed to be anything other than a school.
Wow.
So the thing is, there was somebody that built something there, but it was technically illegal, and the neighbors can now sue to knock that down because that was an illegal structure. Even though zoning allows for it, government allows for it, every other search you do. But if you don't do a historical search, you might be buying a problem from the 1920s.
And yeah, can you imagine you bought a property, you want to knock it down and build a condo, you want to invest millions of dollars into it, and you paid a lot of money for this land, thinking you can do that. Turns out, no, you can't. You're going to do a school there, which you have no use for. Wow.
Well, my client was purchasing this property for about $7 million, and when we realized what the rules were, it lowered the cost down to $2 million.
Of course.
Absolutely. So a $5 million loss would have hurt quite a bit.
Of course. And can you then, in this scenario, it's a very interesting scenario, can you negotiate somehow with the community to change the easement, or it's a very painful process?
It's a very painful process. So what you have to do is get all of the surrounding neighbors to sign a letter stating you could build whatever you want there. And when people say, oh, you want something from me, I want X amount of dollars from you.
Of course.
Or anything else, or build me a house as well. We've had that before. So it's all a negotiation tactic, and and back to a conversation we had a different day, you want to make sure you have the right relationships, speaking with the community, and a lot of the time brokers have relationships in the surrounding area. So you want to make sure everybody on your team is working really hard to make sure your investment is safe.
That's a great advice. And also at some point, we should talk about the importance of having a good relationship with your community board, not just your neighbors, but actually the whole board. That's a topic of a whole different discussion, and I would like to bring you in on that later on.
Great.
Okay, very good. You explained it quite well, that title report is something that not only needs to be reviewed, but reviewed by a competent attorney that knows what they're doing, that has done commercial real estate, and one's attorney is Sinayskaya Yuniver. Thank you for your time. We appreciate for making everything so simple. And also, I love the examples you give, because you bring commercial real estate law to life. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. And next time, we're going to talk about investors. We're going to talk about whom can you have in your investor in your project, individual, a company, and what it means to have an accredited investor. Very interesting topic that not everybody is aware of, and that's why we're here to educate the public. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Okay, thank you again.
Thanks.
Bye, Michael.